right, we're gonna go over how to set up our gradebook to make sure that we're ready for quarter 2. So we're just gonna do some things just to check to make sure everything is entered correctly and set up correctly so that we don't have any issues for the end of the quarter 2 when we're ready to post grades. So the first thing is we are gonna look at our assignments. So these are assignments from quarter 1. And so making sure that we had at least 7 assignments. 2 of our assignments were summative. So as you can see, I have a total of 8 and I have 2 summatives. We want to make sure that our description for our titles closely match the assignment titles that we have in Schoology if necessary. So obviously my assignment 1 and 6 and 2 is very vague, right? And so we wouldn't want to use that, but my assignment title that I have that is more specific, that says identifying cyber threats activity, that is very clear. I would probably have that exact title in Schoology. So it just makes it easier for students and parents to just kind of find the assignments that they may need to make up. So just make sure that are we are descriptive when we're addressing our assignment titles. Right. We are now going to look at our gradebook and scores. And so just making sure this was part of the end of the quarter 1 checklist, but making sure that there are no blanks in our gradebook, that we have comment codes where necessary. So for example, if a student did not submit an assignment, we can go ahead and give them an NTI, which is needs to turn in. It will calculate to a 0, but it will allow the student to submit the work for credit. And so we want to make sure that we input that, because if we don't and we leave it blank, it will inflate the grade and their grade will show that it's higher than what it really is, because if it's nothing turned in, it calculates a 0. So we want to make sure that we're communicating correctly with our grades. The comment code min, so we want to utilize that if you graded an assignment and they scored lower than the 50%. So for example, in this assignment, it was out of 80 points. The comment code min was used, so it gave the student 50%, which is 40. So that's assuming that the child received something lower than 40. So we want to put in the min code there, and then we want to record the actual score that they earned. So we can click on the assignment, we can click on enter scores, and then we're going to scroll down to that student. And where it says public notes, we can actually record what that student actually earned. So this is really helpful for MTSS, special ed, and for parents, students to know actually what they earned. Right. And then remember, we can utilize D and A. That's if you are not allowing the student to turn in the work anymore. And so it still calculates a 0. But it's just saying that late window has passed and they are not able to submit that work, right? So just wanted to make sure I identify the D and A. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to just check our comments just to make sure that they're in there correctly. So we're going to go up to Gradebook. We're going to go to Gradebook Setup. We're going to go to the Gradebook Comments tab. And I have a lot of codes in here, but you want to make sure that you have the 5 that we have for the school. So that is the TIL, which gives the student 10% deducted off their assignment if they turned it in late. So it's optional if you want to use that comment code, but if you take points off for students that submit work, you can utilize that comment there. The min comment code, we talked about that, making sure that it says 50% and not just 50. If it says just 50, it's going to give 50 points and not 50%, because this column is not a percentage column. So just make sure we have that percent sign. Utilizing EXE, that's when you're excusing a student from that assignment. and the NTI calculates 0. We talked about that. And then D and A, which also calculates 0. Right? So making sure that we have those codes in there correctly. Okay, so we're going to go back to our gradebook. The next thing is now we're going to go ahead and we're going to create our first assignment for quarter 2. So when I click on new, I'm going to go ahead and put an assignment. I'm just going to again give a brief title, right? So you obviously would have something that describes what the assignment is. Making sure that the date is within quarter 2. So these dates, the date of assignment and due date is within quarter 2. I'm going to choose formative. I'm going to have the score type be raw score, and it's going to be out of 80 points. Okay, and this is where for quarter 2, the first assignment on quarter 2, I'm going to click grading periods. And for first quarter, I selected all 4. For second quarter, I'm going to deselect that first quarter, and it's going to just be second, third, and fourth quarter. Okay, super important. And then if this assignment is the same for another class, I can add it to additional sections if I wanted to. Okay, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click save. When I click save, as you see, I do not see that assignment 10 that I created. Okay. And so this is also one thing that you have to remember if your gradebook does not automatically switch over to quarter 2. So right now the term says second quarter, but over here in periods, I want to make sure that I select second quarter. When I click second quarter, as you can see now, that you'll see my assignment 10 is there. So very important that you make sure that you do that if you don't see the assignment that you just created. Right? I also want to just share under filter and options some preferences that may be helpful for you. So right now my gradebook is from newest to oldest. So if you click on filter and options, if you like that, that option, the assignment order, you can choose what you prefer. So some people like oldest to newest or newest to oldest. So that's why I have that newer assignment in the beginning. I can also here make sure that my show comment codes are showing up. So sometimes teachers are like, hey, I have them in there and it's not showing up. So make sure that's selected. You can also select the show total missing so that you can get a glimpse really quickly of how many assignment students are missing. I also want to share, many of you use this, but if you're not aware, the assignment note entry. So that's helpful when we're recording that score for the men code. And instead of going to enter in assignments, we can just have that view there and it'll be easier for us to record. All right. And so this is just some preferences that you can use. Once you are finished, we're going to click done. All right. And just to show you now, I again have my newest to oldest. If I wanted to put in a note, so notice now I did that note entry. So when I click on it now, I have this box that comes up. And remember, we talked about public notes. So this is the easiest way where you can put that information there. Also, teachers use this for when a student is late or absent, so they can put whatever code that they want there. So this is just kind of a quick reference that you can use. Right? So if you have any questions or need help with anything, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to help.